Well guys, here today I went ahead and I sold all of my Apple stock, and I want to share with you here today what I sold those shares at, how much money I made on those shares. I want to share with you what I went ahead and bought with that money. I'm going to show you screenshots of everything. I hope you guys enjoy this today. We're going to talk in depth about Apple stock. If I think that stock is done going up, we're going to talk about the stock I went ahead and bought with that money. Okay, so I hope you guys enjoy this as always. By the way, I just want to let you guys know I just released a new section in the Becoming Master of the Stock Market course. It's called Dividend Investing Mastery. So if you got that course in the past, make sure you log in and go ahead and watch all those videos. I'll teach you a lot about dividend investing. If you have not got that course in the past and you're interested in getting it, I actually have it 70% off here today for you. It's linked in that description. Make sure you get it before the sale runs out, all right? So first off here, we're looking at my public account, okay? So this account is available for everybody in my private stock market membership group to see this account. And I don't usually publicly disclose what trades I make to anybody unless you are in that group. I got a couple hundred members in there, and that's usually the only people that can see all my trades in that account. I show them screenshots every time I make a move. They get to keep up with this account constantly and whatnot. And usually I don't publicly disclose this, guys. I don't usually do this, but I thought it would be interesting because I did cover this on the channel when I bought the Apple shares, and then the stock I bought with the money is a super popular stock, so I was like, I gotta just share this one with everybody, okay? So I hope you guys enjoy this. So first off, we're looking at my public account here, and needless to say, Apple, we've done pretty decent on that one, needless to say, okay? That's a stock we bought in January. We bought it that day. You know, Apple stock just went down and down. You know, Apple announced their, we're gonna miss numbers and whatnot, and we didn't get it right at its lows, but we got it pretty dang close. I think that day Apple hit 142 or 143 or something like that, so we didn't get it right at the low, but we got it pretty close. We got it at 145.18, and needless to say, we have done absolutely phenomenal on that. Super thankful. You know, a 40+% gain in about 3 months time or so. Like, that's just insane, guys. Like, I can never expected that. Over a $2,000 gain there. We owned 35 shares, and so first off, like, selling the shares, it's never fun. I mean, it's fun in the respect that, yeah, you get to make a couple $1,000s. That's cool, but at the same time, it's really fun to log into your account and you see a stock like that up 40% plus, and it's a stock that you've only held for 3 or 4 months or something like that. Like, it's a very short amount of time. Like, usually I aim, like, my goal each and every year, it doesn't mean I'll always hit this goal, but my goal that I reach for is I want to try to make like 30 to 40% on my money each year. Now, not all years that is possible, but at least that's my goal. And so to make 40+% on a stock you've held for 3 or 4 months, like, that's really unbelievable, okay? And so those shares of Apple, we sold those at exactly $203.97, so just under $204. The proceeds from that are $7,133, okay? So I sold those Apple shares, one, because I wanted to put that money in this other stock we're going to cover right now in just a minute, okay? But there's another reason I sold that. I discussed this on the other channel, Financial Education 2, recently. Basically, I already have a lot of money into semiconductor suppliers that get a mass amount of their revenue and profits from Apple. So I'm already very invested in Apple, just kind of like indirectly, I guess you can say. And also my wife, in her portfolio, her biggest position is Apple. So needless to say, like, even though I sell out of all my Apple shares here today, we're still kind of relying on Apple. I mean, we own a lot of different stocks. Obviously, you can just look at the public account. There's over $250,000 in that account. And like, a lot of that has nothing to do with Apple, obviously, but it lets us diversify a little less. Now, some people are like, are you calling a top here in Apple stock or something like that? Do you think it's done going up? Apple has just been on an absolute tear, okay? Apple stock has just been out on an absolute tear basically since I bought that day. First off, let me just address something. That was super lucky, okay? I was super lucky to have just bought that day and the stock never went down and it basically went up in a straight line after that, okay? I wish I was that good where I could buy every single stock at the very bottom. It doesn't work like that, which is why I lower cost basis. Almost every stock I hold, I lowered cost basis on several times, except Apple. I mean, literally, I can't think of another stock in the public account that I didn't lower cost basis on several times. Alibaba, Cirrus Logic, Elf, Eli, Facebook, Facebook, Skyworks, Whirlpool, all those stocks, from my understanding, I lowered cost basis on at least once, if not several times. So, for Apple, basically, I put money in that $5,000 and it goes up in a straight line. Like, that was just super lucky. And so am I thinking like Apple stock is done going up? Absolutely not. But I will say Apple, in my personal opinion, has reached a fair valuation. It's at the lowest end of fair valuation, but it has reached fair valuation. Now, by no means do I think Apple is overvalued, not even close. Would I feel comfortable, like if I had to put all my money in one stock and I just like can't touch that money for 10 years, it might even be Apple stock. Like if I was forced to buy a stock right now today, it might be honestly Apple stock. But needless to say, I think there are better growth companies for my money, going forward and whatnot, and it lets me diversify a little bit away from Apple. And this other stock, honestly, at the end of the day, guys, I think it just has a lot more growth potential, a little more risk, absolutely, and I would say a lot more risk than Apple. But this other stock, honestly, I just think my money's going to grow a lot faster with this other particular stock there. And what stock did I buy? It is Tesla stock. Some of you guys might have guessed it, okay? What did we end up doing here with Tesla? So I bought 27 shares of Tesla stock. I paid $272.75 per share there. I was able to buy $7,300 or so. I had some cash just laying around, I think from some dividends I received in the past and whatnot. Plus I used all the proceeds from that Apple trade to go ahead and buy those 27 Tesla shares there. We'll talk a little bit in depth about Tesla here in just a moment. But now if we look at the public account, Tesla, hey, Tesla, you need to get it together. Well, I don't know what Tesla closed at today. Maybe it closed at 273, so maybe we're already green on that one. But Tesla, don't be the one red one in this account, man. We need everything green in this account. All right, so there it is, guys. 27 shares we hold now, $7,300. So it is the smallest position by far really in the account. Well, I mean, Whirlpool's also a pretty small position, about $8,300 we have in Whirlpool stock. But Tesla, needless to say, is the smallest position, which I'm okay with, because if you look at those stocks there, Alibaba, Cirrus Logic, Elf, Eli, Facebook, Skyward Solutions, Whirlpool, I would say Tesla's probably maybe the riskiest one of the bunch, but I could also make an argument that Cirrus Logic's pretty risky, just for the mere fact that if Apple ever dropped them as a semiconductor supplier, the company would be screwed. Tesla is not relying on one customer. Tesla has mass amounts of customers. And also, if we look at Tesla, I kind of view this stock as the least risky it has ever been in its history, okay? Well, let me draw this out. Let me draw out why Tesla is the least risky it has ever been in its history. Now, that's not to say there's not risk with Tesla stock. There is still risk with Tesla stock, okay? There absolutely is still risk with this stock. Obviously, they don't have the best balance sheet in the world. They certainly don't have the worst. Believe me, I can show you some balance sheets that are really awful. But at the same time, they don't have the best balance sheet in the entire world. And needless to say, they've just started to get profitable. But this is the least risky time to invest in Tesla, literally in the company's history, okay? Here's why. They have 2 straight quarters of actual, profits, okay? They've never really been a profitable company, and so to have 2 straight quarters of profits is absolutely massive. This is just one reason why it's the least risky of any time in the past, because in the past, if you were investing in Tesla stock, you were investing in a company that was generally losing hundreds of millions of dollars per quarter, okay? Hundreds of millions of dollars in losses they were taking each and every quarter pretty much for the last few years. So now if you're investing in Tesla, it's a lot less risky just for the mere fact that they've actually proven, hey, we can make some profits here, okay? Also, here's the other thing, Model 3 has ramped, okay? Model 3 has ramped, and they've proven now that they can ramp successfully a mass market vehicle, which is Model 3, okay? They were able to pull that off. Model S and Model X, they proved that they could, be a car company and actually make a decent amount of cars, but they didn't prove they could get to any major scale. Model 3 in 2018 got to, massive scale. There's never been another electric car in the entire world that has sold the way Model 3 sold, okay? So they proved that, one, they could ramp a vehicle heavy, but not only that, ramp an electric vehicle heavy. And let's just think about this for a moment, okay? What other car company in the entire world, name one other car company in the entire world that has ramped successfully a mass market electric car? There are 0 electric car companies in the entire world that have ever done that, okay? GM hasn't done that, Ford hasn't done that, Volkswagen hasn't done that, no one out of China has done that yet, okay? A true electric car that's all electric, no one has ramped a big number, okay? Because the Model 3 is the only one that's ever done the type of numbers that you would say, those are big numbers, okay? There's been nothing else. A Chevy Bolt, you know, even the Model S and Model X, which are usually number 2 and number 3 most popular electric vehicles that are sold around the world, even those you can't really say those ramped majorly. So we have Tesla here, right? Tesla's the only company in the entire world that has proven they can successfully ramp mass production of an all electric vehicle, okay? Literally, that's something I've never heard another person talk about this ever, okay? No one has ever brought up just the fact that no one has ever ramped successfully an electric vehicle like this. I think it needs to be talked about in the Tesla community, and if you are someone in the Tesla community, and I know a lot of you guys are probably watching this video right now, make sure you guys are mentioning this, okay? Because this is something that's a really big thing that just most people aren't even thinking about. Next up, we have the Shanghai factory, okay? The Shanghai factory is coming along very nicely, and this should actually open in 2019. It's going up so fast. I thought there was no chance. I thought there was like a 0% chance that that factory could really open up in 2019, okay? Me, a Tesla bull, I was super skeptical. And the pace that factory is being built in China, I'm pretty confident. I would say I'm like 60-40, like confident now basically that that factory will actually open and actually be in some sort of production in 2019. And I think in 2020, that will be at full production. I think that factory can hit full production in 2020, which is just a massive thing for the whole Asian market and the whole Chinese market over there. That really shifts Tesla in a position of power in China selling electric vehicles, where right now, Tesla's kind of at a big disadvantage. I mean, if you want to buy, you know, a Model S or a Model X or even a Model 3 in China, you're just going to pay a ridiculously more substantial rate than what you'd pay if like you live in the States or something like that, guys. So that's a big factor. And then leasing, you know, this is another big thing. And then we'll get into why I just had to buy these shares now. But leasing is a big factor here. You know, leasing's not something that's talked about very often, but let's be honest. A lot of car companies make significant portions of their profits and revenues from leasing vehicles. Not everybody's wants to actually buy a car. A lot of people just like to lease cars. If you look at the statistics around the United States or even Europe, for instance, a lot of folks, you know, millions, tens of millions of people actually like to lease cars, okay? So this is awesome that Tesla's finally been able to do this. But here's another thing. So I noticed something with Tesla stock, okay? This is a funny stock. It's one of the most, this is why I love to cover Tesla stock on the channel, because it's literally the most interesting stock in the stock market to me personally. I mean, it's just a crazy stock. There's so much drama in the stock all the time. And I noticed something with Tesla. It seems like with Tesla, there's either two ways the stock goes, okay, or at least the sentiment, okay? The sentiment around any stock is always a very important thing to how that stock actually performs, at least in the short term. Sentiment kind of drives the stock negative or positive. But what I've noticed around Tesla stock specifically, even way before I was ever a shareholder of Tesla, which I first started buying Tesla shares in 2018, and that was the first time I ever became technically a Tesla shareholder. But I've been tracking the stock for many years, way before I actually owned the stock. And here's what goes on with this stock, okay? It's either at peak bullishness, okay? Either at peak bullishness, I call it, or peak bearishness almost at all times, okay, guys? This stock is either always at peak bullishness, where everybody's just so positive around the stock and the stock just seems like it goes up day after day after day, or it's at a situation where it literally has peak bearishness going around it, where just everybody is bearish on the company and all you see is very negative articles written out there, and it's just everybody's doom and gloom around the stock. And so if I look at Tesla stock here, I'm just like, what side are we on right now, okay? I would say we're very close to peak bearishness on this stock right now, okay? All I I hear is that Model 3 might not be selling well, you know, that they're having a lease because they're desperate, and just kind of the negative narratives around that, and who knows what's going to happen with Tesla Shanghai. And it just seems like nothing positive can be said about Tesla stock right now. And we've seen the stock literally the past like 3 or 4 months is just gone down and down and down. It like peaked out in, I think at some point in December when all other stocks were doing horrible. Tesla stock was doing amazing. It was up to like 370 bucks. And now all of a sudden, Tesla stock's at 270. I bought it, you know, 272. It's basically dropped almost $100 per share in literally 3 or 4 months. And it just seems like right now, it's just everybody is so bearish around the stock. And you know, that like the whole euphoria about the type of numbers they were putting up with Model 3, that's in the past. I don't think that's really in the past. I think that you wait to see the numbers once they actually get that Shanghai factory up and running, okay? Wait to see the numbers once they actually get a European factory up and running, okay? I think these type of numbers are going to be huge. And then you have something which is a potential huge game changer for Tesla, which is a tax credit, okay? Now they are talking about in the States, you know, a bipartisan bill basically going through that would give a massive tax credit to anybody buying the Model 3s once again, or not just Model 3s, but let's say electric vehicles in general, which if people are buying electric vehicles, they're buying Tesla. So we might as well call it the Tesla tax credit, okay? Because no one else really is doing big numbers in electric vehicles. If this tax credit ends up going through, it's a bipartisan bill, which means it has actually a pretty decent likelihood. Here's the thing that happens in lawmaking, okay? If you have just one side trying to pass something through, a lot of times, you know, it gets shut down somewhere along the way. But if you have bipartisan bills go through, they actually stand a much better chance of actually going through. And this tax credit would be huge for Tesla because they're talking about bumping it back up to, I think it's $7,000 again, which right now, if you buy a Tesla, you're getting a federal tax credit of around, I believe it's $3,500. So we're talking about a 2x there, which would obviously boost sales in a big way again for electric vehicles, specifically Tesla, obviously. And they're talking about doubling the amount of vehicles that basically a company could sell to continue to get that tax credit. So that could carry Tesla for at least a couple more years in the States with getting, you know, everybody getting those big tax credits. That's something not a lot of people are paying attention to, and that's a huge wild card because if that goes through, it's literally a game changer for Tesla. Then you have Shanghai Gigafactory coming on, and it's just, in my opinion, we're just at a point right now where there's just peak bearishness around the stock. Everybody just sees it as doom and gloom. Everybody just talking about, oh, they're not going to hit Model 3 numbers. Oh, Model 3 is not going to sell well for, you know, the next, you know, at least 3 to 6 months, blah, blah, blah. It's just doom and gloom. And I'm looking at this and I'm saying, you know, things change very quickly with Tesla stock. Very quickly. It goes from peak bullishness to peak bearishness very quickly. And, you know, this is the type of stock that I wouldn't, you know, I'm not going to make any predictions on where the stock price goes, but I'm just saying this is the type of stock that can go from 370 to 270 very quick. It can go from 270 to 370 or 470 very quick. Believe me, this is the type of stock that in a matter of months can just completely change its trajectory. So if I'm looking at it, I'm like, I'm seeing a price of 272 and I say, you know, I think this company is significantly undervalued for the short term and especially when you look at the long-term potential. And that's why I go ahead and buy it. Do I go ahead and stick all my money in Tesla stock? Absolutely not. Okay, and I highly advise, you know, people not to do that type of thing because Tesla is still a risk at this point in time. But I'm absolutely willing to take a risk on $7,000 or something for a company that I think has big upside potential. And I do own some Tesla shares in another one of my accounts as well. So needless to say, and I might buy some more Tesla. I might not be done buying Tesla. Let me be very clear about that. If this stock continues to stay under $300, and especially if it's around this, you know, 270 level, I'll probably continue to buy Tesla stock for, you know, months to come. I would love it if Tesla stock stayed around this price or even went lower for at least the next 3 to 6 months, because I would love to build this into even a bigger position, guys. So that covers why I went ahead and sold out of Apple today and stuck that money in Tesla. So anyways, let me know what you guys think about that move in the comment section. I would love to hear from you guys as always. Thank you for watching and have a great day.